Tapestry. This is your review for 2. Good day, my name is Joe Gerba. Today we'll be going over Tapestry and how it plays with 2 players. Now Tapestry is a 1 to 5 player game where you'll be building this civilization, advancing on 4 tracks, managing the centerboard and managing your capital city while building a tapestry and scoring the most victory points. And by the end, once everybody has completed their 5th income turn, their 5th era, then the game's over and whoever has the most victory points wins the game. Now let's see a little bit more how to play. So this game's kind of broken up into 2 turns. There's the income turn, which kind of refreshes everything. You play a tapestry card, you upgrade a technology, you get all your income for the turn. And there's the meat and potatoes of the game, kind of the advancement turn. What are you going to do with your resources? Which one of these 4 tracks are you going to advance on? Now each one of these tracks, you'll have a cube, and to advance on the track, you'll pay the resource above the era. You move along that track. You get to do a certain action with a potential bonus action, and like I said, this will cost your resources. And as you pay these resources and move along these tracks, you'll get to put tiles on the board. You get to expand your empire, score victory points. Like I said, there's 4 tracks. There's a military track which lets you put these colonizers down, these conquerors down, settling the area. Technology, you'll advance your sidecars. It's how you can get extra buildings, resources, kind of just a different way of getting some points. Exploration, putting down tiles, gathering tiles, and once you get to the end, discovering a little bit of space. And there's the science one that kind of is a randomizer. It can help you in one of these other categories, but you may not get the bonus for a little while. And so as you go along this game, you'll be using all your resources. Once you're done, you take another income turn. As the income turn, you'll activate your civilization, you'll play a tapestry card, upgrade, get some victory points, get an income, and do it all again. And after 5 turns, whoever has the most victory points wins the game. Now, what's interesting about this is people can take income at different times. So once you're done with all your advancement turns and it's gone to the other player and they're not quite done yet, well then you take your income turn, and whoever takes the first income turn usually gets an extra resource or 2 depending on what era you're in. And the other person can just keep on going through their turn, their advancement turn. So kind of like Everdell, these turns don't happen simultaneously, though most of them pretty well line up. But there are some times where somebody will take income and the other person will be on the advance and have plenty of resources to keep on going. So, and once all players are done with their 5 eras, the game's over, and whoever has the most points wins the game. So let's say a little bit more what I thought about the game. So I don't like to dwell on the components too long, but these components are pretty neat. These landmarks are very, large. They're imposing and they look kind of neat. There's a ton of these houses. There's a ton of, huts out here, a little colonizer. All the components are great. It's a well-produced game. Now the rules in this game, I thought it would be pretty straightforward, pretty easy. It is, because I saw the rule book and it was 1 page of setup and 3 pages of rules, and I was like, this is going to be a pretty easy game. But then as I started to unpack everything, I realized that there's some complexities in the game. It's not quite as easy as it may seem, but once you play a few games, which is most games, it becomes pretty natural. This game's kind of tough to teach, to be honest, because there's so many moving parts. You move on this track, you get to decide and use these pieces. You move on this track, you get to decide and move these pieces. You move on the science track, you get to roll dice, but you may not get the result on your certain tracks. There's a lot of caveats in this game. And to me, this game was not easy to teach. Even my wife said, "You've taught better." And I couldn't quite find that grip on the teaching. Now the rules itself, 3 pages, not that bad. The references are great. There's a 1 page about every single one of these technology tracks, one of these advancement tracks. There's a full page on all of these innovations, all these tech cards, and everything's great. But it's a lot here because you're managing your capital city, you're managing your tapestry, you're managing your income buildings, which are the buildings that you put down will give you more income and more victory points, and you're putting those on your capital city. You're managing this middle board, you're managing the tiles, the exploration you can do, the extra victory points, conquering, the dice. There's a lot in this game to kind of manage. And there's a whole bunch of little gotchas, while trying to teach someone. So the rules are pretty easy and concise to understand, but to teach other people, it's kind of tough. So in this game setup will take a little while. There's just a lot of components to make sure that everyone has ready. If it were me, I would have this game set up beforehand, before the other person you're going to play with is going to play. It just makes it easy to come to the table. And once you kind of have it out, it's easy to reset the game and play again. However, the table size is pretty big. I don't think this could fit on a 3x3. Let's be honest. Even on my 3x6, we're taking up almost all the real estate. Now I know we could pare this down a little bit, but it's an expansive game, to say the least. So let's talk about the gameplay. The gameplay is pretty straightforward. On your advanced turn, you're going to decide which one of these tracks you want to move around. Now, some of them won't have as many decisions as others, but some have quite a few decisions. Do I want to pay the bonus? And the bonus may be put out an income house. Well, that's going to cost me another resource to put it out, but that'll give me more resources in the future. So on those income, you take one of your smaller income buildings and you'll put it on your capital city. And that'll uncover another spot. So when you take income, you'll get more either victory points or more income. But that's all in that one little decision. Do I have enough resources to advance on this track? Is it going to benefit me? You're really trying to optimize victory points in this game. The boards seem a little bit secondary because it's trying to squeeze as many victory points as you can. Now, this game would be pretty samey for both people because everybody has access to the same things. The board is fairly symmetrical. Once you start to build start to put these tiles down, you get closer and closer to each other. You can conquer people, and it's pretty simple to conquer. It's, if you're next to them and you put a conquer chip, put one down, topple theirs over. If they have a trap, they topple yours over. And the trap cards would be in these tapestry cards. There's these small innovations, and it's just the decisions are pretty straightforward. Everybody starts off basically the same. Everyone's kind of their capital city's located in kind of a different region. They're just various capital city types with different spots blocked off. Now, what does separate this and what adds variance to the game are going to be the actual civilizations themselves. These may give you starting bonuses throughout the game, and just brings variance and brings kind of a necessary change to this game. Because other than that, everyone has the same buildings they can go to, all the same 4 kind of advancements, and your tapestry cards will be different, but these civilizations drastically add, kind of alter how you play the game. However, I am going to say they're not all balanced, especially at 2 players. The traders, seem pretty weak. There's a couple of these other ones that seem kind of weak. And what does irk me about this game is the end of the rules. It says if one of the civilizations seems unbalanced, they can get a handicap. Oh, what kind of game is that? Why would you put that in such a great game's rules? Why does that need to be in your rule book? Well, this game should be balanced by all players, at least be pretty close with all these civilizations. Why put that in your rule book? So that really did bother me about this game. However, I do think the civilizations are necessary to add more replayability, because the replayability in this game would be okay, but once you add the civilizations, it really does ramp it up. Everyone can see the face-up technology cards available. The Tapestry cards may be hit or miss depending on where you're at in the game. But like I said, the 4 advancement tracks are the same. Now, you may advance faster on one track than the other person, but the meat and potatoes of this game kind of come with the variants of the civilization card. So there's a lot in this game. There's a lot you have to manage. So the gameplay is tough to explain, because you want to get rows and columns in your capital city to get victory points. You want to complete a district, which is a 3x3 in your capital city, to gain resources. You want to make sure that you maximize your spots, so when you put something down, you get the most victory points you can. These can give you victory points, or can give you resources, or different things. You want to make sure your income's okay. It's a pretty good game where you have to keep a lot of things in balance. It's pretty simple, and you only have so many choices, but there's a lot you can do with these choices. Is it worth, an extra resource to draw an extra tapestry card, which really may alter the game, or it may kind of be a dud. There's that little bit of randomness that I do like in the games. There is enough, decisions to be made. We've played about 7 to 8 times now. And we do still enjoy this game, but there's something like that's just a little bit missing in this game. But this game is fun. I think the variance is pretty high, and it really depends on your civilization. Kind of drives the game. There's a lot going with this game, and I can't go into every detail, but it's complex and simple kind of at the same time. So it may scratch that itch, but it doesn't hit that super high complexity, super high choice that I really like in a 2-player game. And we can talk about the luck for strategy. It may be, kind of the luck on really which cards you draw, and some things like that, and maybe your civilization. But other than that, the luck in this game's pretty small, and it's really your strategy. Do you want to get more income buildings at the beginning by foregoing some of these other facets of the game, just to have more resources near the end of the game and put more buildings in your capital city? So I think the strategy outweighs the luck in this game, which is kind of neat for a 2-player competitive game. Playtime, this did take us about an hour and a half. Like I said, we play about 7 to 8 times, and every time it did, end up about the same. The first time was a little bit longer, of course, but once you get the flow, it's pretty easy. Now, what can kind of slow down the game is when people are on different phases. Say I'm on the advanced phase and significant other is on the income phase, and we kind of have to stop to make sure that she's catching up. That because in the income phase you just have to do a lot of stuff. Your civilization, your tapestry card, move technology up, score victory points on all your income tracks, and do income. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but it can be a lot to take care of. So it can really slow down the game when both people aren't going to be on income on the same turn, on the same cycle. So once you get to know the game, it can go a little bit faster, but if you get that little disparity, it can slow down the game a little bit. So is this game good for 2? I do like it at 2, but I think the play time is right down my alley with 2. I love, about an hour and a half kind of games, maybe even a little bit longer. I could see this being great with 3. By adding, a little bit more dimension. Some of these cards say pick an opponent, and in a 2-player game, well, you're always going to pick the other person, and so it doesn't give you that same choice that you're going to make. So I think this game would be great with 3, although it's a lot of fun with 2. It's quick. It's the gameplay. You can really see what the other person's at. The victory point track, you're really trying to stay neck and neck with them. You can see what they're trying to do and put your tapestry cards down to hopefully, mitigate, their strategy a little bit. And it can be a little bit more cutthroat in a slight way, and that's kind of neat. You're really vying for these landmarks. You're going to have a lot of landmarks at 2 players because one of you is going to advance a little bit further on each track, and it's only 2 people, so you guys are both going to split the landmarks evenly, which kind of make your capital city look pretty neat. So I think this gameplay is great for 2. Maybe even 3. Like I said, we haven't played 3, and I could definitely see, the speed of play be great for 3. However, 4 to 5, I just don't quite see this game at. 3 people maybe on their advancement turn, 2 people maybe on their income turn, asking, are you okay doing your income while we keep on going advancing. It can be a lot to keep track of, but with 2, it's nice and easy, and nice back and forth. You're both moving, both kind of have moving parts. So if I had to guess, this game would be fantastic with 3, but it's a great game with 2. I don't think it ranks in my top, 5 or 10, but it's definitely up there. It's a keeper for us. I don't think it's, there's anything wrong with it. The theme may be a little bit off for some people. In your first age, you may, discover time travel or something like that. So what, just take it as is. Take it as you're building your tapestry in your capital city, and just advancing along this board. The theme is very light in this game. It's there, but it's just not very cohesive as like a through the ages kind of would seem, like an advancement like that. But it's a fun game. I really do enjoy this game. Like I said, I don't think it's one of the greats, but this is a lot of fun and highly enjoyable with 2. So it's my review for 2, and until next time.